Ronald Durham. This weekly program opens the phone lines for you to call in live and share your questions or comments. On this program, we discuss the latest news and opinions of things that may affect the lives of those here in Daytona Beach and the nation. So join Dr. Durham for today's program.
Good afternoon, beloved, and welcome to this edition of Let's Chat America. I'm your radio host, Reverend Dr. L. Ronald Durham, broadcasting this afternoon live from the studios of Joy 106.3 FM. If you live in the Central Florida area, you feel just like I do today. Spring has arrived. We're going to get up into the middle 80s. Some will be up into the upper 80s today. I feel sorry for our cousins who are living up north. Another northeasters head that way. But those of us here in the Sunshine State, that's why we're here, because we understand you don't have to live there if you don't want to. Welcome to the broadcast today. I'm so delighted wherever you are, your home, your office, your automobile, that you're tuned in to the #1 talk show on Thursday here in Daytona Beach. And Let's Chat America means you can pick up the phone and chat with me today. I've got a range of subjects that we're going to be talking about on today's program. And at the end of the program, last year, this is Black History Month, you know. Last year I read kind of a prose, kind of a poem written by Maureen Durham, my lovely wife. And so many of you responded positively to that poem. I'm going to read that poem again today. But you got to hang in there till the end of the broadcast. I'm going to read it right at the tail end of the broadcast today. A lot of subjects to talk about. If you want to pick up the phone, join my conversation, all you have to do is dial those 10 numbers, 386-516-8031. That is our call-in number for today, 386-516-8031. Who will be the first caller to call me today and just feel like I do? The sun is really, really shining brightly on us here in Daytona Beach today. The weather, as I said, is going to be ideal. If you can get outside, get outside. Don't forget your mask, though. We still have protocols that we have to take care of. Because of COVID-19, we're not completely out of the woods yet. But the CDC looks like they're going to make a new recommendation any day now. So I believe we're going to see some changes, some relaxation in the rules surrounding masks. The hospital rates are going down. The death rates are going down across the country. That is really good news. So going to keep our eye on what the CDC is going to do in the next couple of days. But I do believe they'll be kind of relaxing a little bit of the mask wearing. And certainly for our children in school, we want to certainly be watching the CDC recommendations. Some school districts are already eliminating wearing masks for their kids. I don't know if it's premature or not. We'll see. But I think the CDC will make some pleasant recommendations when it comes to COVID guidelines. Well, today, as I mentioned, got a lot to talk about. If you want to join my conversation, pick up the phone, 386-516-8031. Those of you on Facebook, we see you as well. You can pick up your device that you're watching us on Facebook and type in a question or make a comment on Facebook, and we'll get that on the air. So today we're going to start out right here in Volusia County, Florida. There was a major issue that came before the county council on Tuesday, and it surrounded those who are in prison, those who are in the jail here in Daytona where the county jail sits. And Volusia County now, if you didn't hear the news, and the reason I'm certainly focusing on this particular story is because we know who makes up most of the jail system anywhere in the country, where there are a number of African Americans. We know the population is always disproportionate in jail to what the population is in the community. So Volusia County now will charge people who are incarcerated, and this, by the way, was reported in the Daytona Beach News Journal. Volusia County will now charge people incarcerated in jail some of the highest booking fees. If you never heard of booking fees, pay attention because I'm going to explain it. Some of the highest booking fees and daily subsistence fees in the state of Florida will be charged here in Volusia County after a vote by the county council on Tuesday. The booking fee is going to be $30. When you're booked and processed into the jail, there's a fee of $30 just to be booked. And then every day that you stay in the jail, there's going to be an additional $5 per day for what they're calling subsistence. And it will be withdrawn automatically from the inmate's trust account. And the trust account, known as the Honey Bun Fund, according to the Director of Corrections, Dr. Mark Flowers. Flowers said, quote, "I'm going to be honest with you, Ms. Gertman, because Ms. Gertman was the one, and hats off to County Councilwoman Barbara Gertman. She challenged the Corrections Systems Director more than any other council person sitting on the dais. And as you know, Barbara Gertman is the only African American person on the county council." Dr. Flowers said to her, quote, "I'm going to be honest with you, Ms. Gertman," and he was addressing the lone councilwoman's fight to the new policy. Most of them sat up there like completely quiet. He went on to say there are a few that are indigent, but they don't hesitate to get their honey bun funds from their mamas and their grandmamas and their 5 or 6 girlfriends. That's that end quote. That's a little to me. That is a little derogatory coming from the corrections director, Mark Flowers, indicating that their mamas, grandmamas, and 5 or 6 girlfriends are going to be putting money into this account for the inmate. He's kind of alluding to profiling, in my opinion. The policy will apply to everyone who will be incarcerated in the Volusia County Branch Jail, as I mentioned, right here in Daytona Beach. Jails in Florida house people awaiting trial, as well as those who have been found guilty and sentenced to less than a year of incarceration. State prisons, on the other hand, house people found guilty after a trial of what are generally more serious crimes. Some people in the county jail are awaiting transfer to a state or federal prison. Vice Chair Barbara Gertman, who noted a person is considered, quote, innocent until proven guilty, end quote, here in the United States, grilled the corrections director and legal staff about the policies and voted no against every single measure that came up regarding the jail on Tuesday. And I reached out to Councilwoman Gertman and gave her kudos, as well as Councilwoman Heather Post. I'll get to her in a little bit. But Ms. Gertman said, quote, "I'm really concerned with inmates leaving with another burden when they're already sometimes challenged with getting what they need. I don't want to put another ball and chain around their neck when they come out," end quote. Now, you know what this is all stemming from. On the ballot of the last election was the restoration of rights to inmates who are coming out of prison, serve their time, and their rights would be restored so that they would be able to vote. So here's what I see as the underlying cause of this new system of charging inmates while they're in jail, the subsistence fee. In my opinion, it is stealthily designed so that when they come out of the jail, before they can get their rights restored, all of their fines and penalties have to be satisfied. So they satisfy the time in jail upon release, but if those fees are still unpaid when they come out of the jail system, this will be just another mechanism whereby their rights can be restricted and they will not be able to vote. Now, put two and two together. They will not be able to vote. Most prisons in metropolitan areas or in areas of any significant population, the prison population is almost assuredly disproportionately African American. So guess whose voting rights or rights in general will be impacted once they are released from prison if these subsistence fees are not paid. Doesn't take a genius to figure that out, folks. 386-516-8031 is the call-in number. I'd like to get your take on this first segment of the broadcast today. 386-516-8031. Daytona Beach defense attorney James Kroc told the News Journal last week that this policy would lead to more innocent people to take plea deals. Kroc said, quote, "There isn't a day that goes by where somebody isn't presented with an offer. You can sit in jail and wait to go to trial, or you can make it easy and take a plea." He said, going to jail turns your life upside down. And there's no question that going to jail will turn someone's life upside down. Kroc said, Attorney Kroc laid it out and said, quote, "Essentially, it's a nightmare. Nobody plans on being arrested. You get thrown into jail and your mind is in utter chaos. You risk losing your job and your financial income. You're running around trying to quickly raise capital to bond out. You're running around to see if you can hire a lawyer. Now they're adding this additional fee for the privilege," that was his words, "of sitting in jail," end quote. Several council members asked what happens if someone's charges are dropped or they're acquitted. Assistant County Attorney Chris Ryan said that the state of Florida has laid out a process in which a person can fill out a form and submit it to the Justice Administration Commission to get reimbursed for all fees. So listen to what this is doing now. If you are innocent or the charges are dropped and you're acquitted, The fees are still racking up while they're determining whether or not to drop the charges or you get acquitted. Those fees are continuing to rack up every single day. Here's what County Councilman Danny Robbins said, quote, listen to this very carefully. Councilman Robbins said, quote, to me, this makes sense. I think it's more than reasonable, end quote. That is unbelievable. Councilwoman Heather Post, I also commend her on her stance on Tuesday, said she worried about the ripple effect on impoverished individuals, meaning individuals who are poor, and asked Flowers how they would measure the effect on the community. Flowers said he didn't think monitoring recidivism rates was the answer. Here's what he said, quote, as a taxpayer, I'd love to see that we collected $1 million. Now, I don't have to pay $1 million to my tax dollars to feed inmates. Let me rephrase that. I don't have to pay $1 million in my tax dollars to feed inmates who went out and broke the law. Whether innocent or guilty, we still feed them, still clothe them, end quote. So how will the jail subsistence fees work here in Volusia County? That's really the bottom line. How will they work this system here in Volusia? The Corrections Division predict to collect somewhere, now listen to what they feel they're going to make on charging these inmate fees. They're going to collect in the range of $200,000 from the booking fees. That's when they process you in. You have to pay $30 to be processed into the jail. And they expect to earn $1 million from this $5 a day subsistence fees. And that's if 35% of those incarcerated pay the fine or pay the fee. Flowers said, quote, we know that 100% of inmates are not going to pay. We just know that, end quote. Flowers had requested to have I said earlier, the booking fee to be booked into prison was $30. Flowers, the director of the prison, only requested a booking fee of $20 and that $5 a day subsistence fee. But guess who spoke up out of a slumber, more than likely? Councilman Dr. Fred Lowry. Now, you know that I had a protest against Dr. Lowry, spearheaded by the Volusia County Democratic Black Caucus. We went before the county council and demanded his immediate resignation for the QAnon conspiracies he was espousing as pastor of the church in Deltona. And our feeling was that if those were the thoughts he was having and sharing with his congregation, then those are the thoughts he has as he's making decisions sitting on the county council. Decisions that can affect your family and my family. Well, here's what Dr. Lowry motioned. As I said, Flowers, the director of the prison, asked for $20 as the booking fee. But the Honorable Councilman Fred Lowry motioned to up the booking fee from $20 to $30. And every single one of the county council members, except for Councilwoman Barb Gertman, voted yes. Raise the fee from 20 to 30. And that's why I reached out to Councilwoman Gertman on yesterday afternoon and just commended her for taking a noble stand against this unbelievable new fee system being imposed by the Volusia County Jail. By the county's analysis, this fee of $30 puts them in the upper limit in both categories. The booking fee of $30 and the upper limit of the daily fee of $5 a day. The Florida Sheriff's Association is saying don't exceed $5 a day for the subsistence, and that's according to the director of the prison, Mr. Flowers. He said the fees will go toward the cost of food, clothes, and housing. The jail reports that each meal costs an average of, here's what the jail says it costs them to feed their inmates. It costs them $1.03 average per day to feed them. So 3 meals a day, I guess you could add that up, and it's $3.09 per day average to feed an inmate in the Volusia County Jail. $3.09. But they want $5 from each inmate. So not just charge them for the food, but make a profit on what you charge for this food that they receive. Inmates' trust accounts are filled with money people had on them when they were jailed, and family and friends can also make deposits into this trust account. The money is then used to pay for medical expenses and to buy goods. The inmates can buy goods from the commissary. Here's what the jail procedure states, quote, upon an inmate's initial intake, items such as toothbrush, toothpaste, soap, and razor will be supplied. Other accessory items such as drinks, deodorant, shampoo, and snacks must be purchased through the jail commissary. So if you don't have any money in the jail commissary, no drinks, no deodorant, no shampoo, no snacks, no deodorant. In jail, no deodorant if you don't have money in your trust account. Ryan said everyone will be charged regardless of their ability to pay. Those performing work for the jail, which is unpaid, by the way, when you see jail workers on the side of the road, maybe they're cleaning the road, maybe they're cutting grass, doing other things in their jail uniform, they're not being paid for that. That's free labor that is being given through the jail system. Those performing work for the jail will be exempt, and certain tax-exempt income, such as Social Security, is protected by law. Ryan emphasized, quote, if someone does not have any funding, if their account is empty, we will continue to provide them with the same services. They still get the same food, the same sanitary services. We just run up a red ledger in case the day comes where they do get a payment in that account, end quote. If someone returned to jail within 3 years, they would continue withdrawing any owed money from their account. So if you're released from prison, from jail, and you go back to jail within 3 years, if you still had a balance that you owed from the last time you were in jail, that balance sits there. If you return within 3 years and is owed money that you as the prisoner owe from your account. Ryan said they wouldn't be pursuing collections for any lingering debts. He said, quote, at this time, end quote, but said they have the right to later on. Flowers said he heard from other jails around the state that the new charges, which will be implemented after the start of the fiscal year in October, came as a shock to the incarcerated population. I guess it was a shock. He said, quote, now it's just day-to-day business. Flowers said they will try to get the word out between now and October about these new fees that inmates have to pay. Flowers said, quote, I'd love it greatly if our crime rate went down 50% based on that, but I don't think that's going to happen, end quote. Incarceration costs can be used as leverage in lawsuits against inmates. Also on Tuesday, the county council voted 5-2 to set a policy that will countersue anyone who sues the county to collect $50 per day for, quote, costs of incarceration, end quote, regardless whether the lawsuit was related to their incarceration or not. Councilwoman Gertman and Post voted no to this issue. Hats off to Councilwoman Gertman and Councilwoman Heather Post for voting no to this policy. It passed anyway, 5-2. Post said she thought when the county is liable in a car wreck, for example, it seemed wrong to pursue the debt even as a negotiation tactic. She said, quote, I just have an issue with that, end quote. Deputy County Attorney Kevin Bledsoe called it a, quote, helpful tool, end quote, for defending against litigation. Bledsoe said, quote, I think it can be expected to result in less lawsuits against the county, more lawsuits against the county being dismissed without any payment, more favorable settlements when that's appropriate, and in the event of an adverse verdict, it will allow us to recoup expenses paid by the taxpayers. Amazing. So, if you didn't know it before, you know it now. Starting in October, the beginning of the new fiscal year for the county, inmates going into the jail here in Daytona Beach will now have to pay, just to be booked into the jail, now have to pay $30. And then every day that you're in jail, now you may be in jail completely innocent of the charges that you were arrested for. That doesn't matter, because these fees go into place automatically regardless of the final adjudication. Doesn't matter if you're later found to have been innocent, the fees continue to rise every day that you are in the county jail. Let's Chat America. This is your radio station today, and I'm your host, the Reverend Dr. L. Ronald Durham. What do you think about this new fee system for inmates into the jail? Now, I wanted to open with this segment today because we are in Black History Month. Historically, in America, in cities with large or medium populations, not necessarily those in rural areas, but in your average sized city to the large city, the population in the prison is disproportionately, almost universally, very rare that it's not, but almost universally, the population is heavily African American as compared to the numbers of individuals living in that community, percentage wise. And so I wanted to lead with that today because one more brick, one more added weight to those who may find themselves in a situation where they are incarcerated, and the ultimate goal is to water down and diminish what was on the ballot voted affirmatively by those here in Florida, that the rights of those who have served their time would be restored. They would be able to vote. And so how do you get around that for those who want to see that as a continued policy, that restoration of rights are continually denied? Well, you get around it by racking up fees that people may have a hard time paying. That's how you get around it. So what do you think? Pick up the phone, dial those 10 numbers, 386-516-8031. The line is open. It's 32 minutes past the hour, and you can call me right now, 386-516-8031. Welcome to Let's Chat America. What's your comment or your question? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, you're on the air.
Hi, how are you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Yes, my name is Terry Coleman, two last names, Terry Coleman.
Uh-huh.
And I think that this is quite an interesting thing that has occurred because, like you were mentioning, the population in the prison system throughout America is predominantly African American.
Yes.
And so what we've been trying to figure out for years is what is the true purpose of incarceration? Because of the fact that you have so many repeat offenders, incarceration, is it just to take individuals off the street, or is it to rehabilitate them?
Right.
Okay, and so the issue now is not only have people who are grossly disproportionately placed in prison through the system that has shown us in many cases is unfair. Now the people are incarcerated, and now you are charging a fee for being locked up unfairly. You're charging a fee for being detained and separated from your family. And I think it has, because of the jail system, you have to look at race. What is the purpose of putting fines on people who have very limited income from the very beginning? It's just another chain around the individual's neck. Mm-hmm. And I think it's grossly unfair. And I'm surprised, but based on everything that's happening after January 6th, I guess I'm not surprised that such a thing like this is even happening today.
Yeah.
And so I think this is another example of oppressing a group of people by any means necessary.
Yes.
And my question is, how do we as a people, take a position to offset things like this that are occurring to us. This is just one example of many things that is going to come. You know, if you can do it to prisoners, you know, what do you do to people who are not in prison?
Right.
Okay, this is outrageous.
Right.
Okay, but you know, I don't think we should be outraged anymore. What do we do? How can we offset these type of things that are to come? This is just the tip of the iceberg, I believe, because it is so outrageous. It has to be the tip of the iceberg. So for other things to come, I think we need to have a way, like most other groups have a way of making these issues known so that people will not attempt to do anything like this again to a population that is oppressed and depressed on so many different levels.
You're so right.
Thank you.
You are so right. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate those comments, because if you don't hear it coming from this radio station, or you're not a person who reads the newspaper every day, let's say, or keeps up with what's going on, these kinds of things get by us. And so I wanted to raise the flag today, and I've already reached out to the NAACP, and they are outraged as well. So just keep looking, keep watching. We'll have our voices heard in this issue for sure.
Okay, great. And thank you very much for making it known. Thank you.
You're welcome, beloved.
And
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Yep. Bye-bye. You're on the radio. It's Let's Chat America. What's your question or your comment? All right. I think we lost the caller trying to call in. Call us right back. I tried to get you in when the caller was done, the first caller. Call us back. I'd love to get your thoughts. I think they're trying to call us now. Let's see if we can get them in. Welcome to Let's Chat America. What's your question or your comment?
Sorry about that, Dr. Praise the Lord. My comment is this. This is, wow. Right now I'm blown away.
Yeah.
Just hearing what you're speaking about.
I am too.
This is almost modern day slavery in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Basically what we're having is Volusia County has decided to have a for-profit jail system, which will incentivize police officers to arrest anybody at contact point. You know, because most police officers really do have judgment whether or not they will arrest anyone, you know, for whatever reason, whatnot, what have you. But this will incentivize all officers across Volusia County to arrest, because now we have a for-profit system, and at the bottom, at the end of the line, I'm interested into seeing where the money goes. They talk about how much they're going to raise. I would like to know, where is that money going to go? Because if you're overcharging for everything and you're going to be able to cover all your costs, what are we going to do with the excess money? I mean, is it going to go into some type of rehabilitation, drug rehabilitation, this, that, other, homeless help, or what are they going to do with the excess profit, or is pockets being lined? I'm interested in that, yes, sir. Thank you very much for your show. You have a blessed day, brother.
Bless you too, my brother. Thank you so much for calling. Excellent question. If you were listening to the first segment today, the director of the prison is estimating they're going to make somewhere around $200,000 annually just on the booking fees alone. And then he is estimating somewhere around $1 million will be raised from the $5 a day fee. Now, it only costs them $3.09 on average. $3.09 is all it costs a day to feed those who are in the jail. But the sustenance fee is subsistence fee rather. That's $5 a day. So you're making close to $2 per day per inmate coming in to the Volusia County Jail. Where does that extra $2 go? Almost $2. Where does that go? Where does that money go? And the brother who just called made an excellent point, because you have to question, what are they going to do with it? Now, my hope and prayer is that we have very good police officers out there who do a good job every single day. I just pray that this doesn't incentivize, because the brother raised a great point. I just pray this doesn't incentivize, more arrests that may not necessarily, because there's great discretion and latitude on some of these minor crimes that are committed. Great latitude that a police officer may or may not have. So we have to be watchful. We have to just pray that doesn't become an issue, and I'm praying that it won't become an issue. But again, great question. What do you think? That's why this program is called Let's Chat America, because I'd like to hear what you think. Suleen, we see you on the Facebook Live feed. Victor, also on the Facebook Live feed. All of you coming in on Facebook, we appreciate you so much. And if you'd like to pick up the phone, because this is something that, I could talk about this for the whole hour. just this new fee system starting in October, charging every single inmate just to be processed into the jail. You pay them $30. Now, we're paying people to process you into the jail. They get paid a salary to do that every day, every week, every month. But on top of that now, you, as a potential criminal suspect, and in many cases they're going into the jail before any kind of trial, before they stand in front of any kind of judge. Many cases they're going in there before that, waiting to see a judge, waiting to have a trial. They're in the prison, sitting there, and these fees are racking up every single day. So I'm curious as to what you're thinking. What are your thoughts about this new fee system? Give me a call, 386-516-8031. 386-516-8031. The illustrious Mr. DeSantis is now planning to dismantle majority black districts in the state of Florida, which sets us up for a showdown against the GOP. The Grio.com reports, and we've seen it in other news outlets as well, the fate of the largely black Florida state congressional district and the incumbent black Democrat who is running for re-election there is about to be decided by a group of GOP leaders who are at odds on the issue. Caller, welcome to Let's Chat America. What's your question or your comment?
My comment is, Reverend Durham, is that this is just another phone. This is just another phone. This is the blind that they're pulling in front of folks' eyes in plain sight. It's another tactic. Listen, you can't win with Republicans not win. They cannot win. I think they should do away with the electoral system. But they can't win. So what they're going to do is they're going to put up all kinds of blocks, like the suppression of borders. Not only that, as I heard in your first segment about incarceration fees, something has to be unconstitutional about that. Which I think the Justice Department should definitely take a look at it. And if no one from Volusia County has contacted the Justice Department, I think they should, because there is some very good attorneys in the Justice Department up there in D.C. that look at this stuff every day. And here in Florida, especially here in Florida, okay, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's going on here. Okay, you have to be dumb, blind, or crazy not to comprehend what they are doing here in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
And you're speaking about our illustrious governor. Lord. I don't want to get started on that because it'll take up all your time. But however, I just wanted to say, Dr. Durham, that look, these folks are going to do any and everything that they can, okay, to set up roadblocks.
Yeah.
But we who are educated about this, we have to be vigilant, as you stated, and not only that, inform the ones that are not. We need to help. Those of us who know, and we know, we need to help. We need to reach back, okay, and educate. Because if we don't, as it says in the good book, for the lack of knowledge, for the lack of knowledge, you know the rest of the story.
That's right.
You have a blessed day, Reverend.
Bless you. Thank you so much for calling. Appreciate you as always. All right, now you take care.
Have a blessed day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. Quoting scripture here on Let's Chat America, the people perish for a lack of knowledge. My goodness. Powerful comments today on this segment. The first segment on these new fees being charged, that will be charged starting in October by the Volusia County Jail. These inmates will have to pay to be there. And, you know, your taxes go towards the prison system. You know, part of your taxes go towards maintaining the prison. And now they're adding on to that the incarcerated person must also kick in. And the first caller was right on point. Where's this money going to go? Where's this money going to go? I think we need to make sure we're keeping our eyes on this. As I said, I've already reached out to the NAACP. And as president of the Volusia County Democratic Black Caucus, you can bet your bottom dollar I will keep my eye on this. And we'll see just what happens. But our illustrious, honorable DeSantis took the unusual step in January of proposing a redistricting map. I don't know if I've ever heard of a governor in any of the other 49 states. I don't think I've heard of another one that has decided on his or her own that they were going to enter and draw up their own state maps for how districts would be structured. I don't think I've heard of another one in any of the other 49 states. But we have a brilliant governor here who has decided he needs to step in and draw maps of his own. And it would break up Florida's 5th congressional district, which is a 46% black northern political region that includes the area around Tallahassee and runs east and west along the state panhandle. State House members of DeSantis' own party, disagree with him on this matter. And that's according to NBC News. Not that he cares one iota whether his own party members disagree with him or not. I don't think that even phases him. The political battle has gained national attention this year. And I'm going to put a pause right there because that's exactly what DeSantis wants. He wants national attention. And he wants national attention because in the back of his bonnet is this thought that he can run for president. He's a mini number 45. He wants to outdo number 45 in many of the things that are absolutely devastating to communities of color and people of color. And so this national attention this year, as states across the country grapple with redistricting maps, and this redistricting is a result of the last census. Redistricting takes place every 10 years based on the census. And that's why it is so important to everybody who hears my voice today. When it is time for the census, you got to fill that out and be accurate about every single person who lives in your house. Because the census allows the government to know what the proportionate representation should be based on the population in any given area. And when we have the attitude, I don't want people knowing my business, I don't want people knowing how many folk live in my house, well, guess what? We get undercounted and we lose representation. When redistricting happens every 10 years, what they're doing now, these proposals that are coming out now, as it relates to the districts where you vote and live, this will impact you for 10 years. It will impact you until the next census is taken. Hear me when I'm talking to you. Fill out the census when it comes to your house. Here's what happens. If you don't fill it out, they're going to knock on your door anyway. We got folk that won't open their door. We got folk that won't talk to them. And we lose when that happens. We lose dollars that could come to our community based on an accurate count of our communities. And these dollars are earmarked for the population based on what the government knows is the population. But if that is not accurate, because people won't fill out the doggone census, then we lose a lot of funding that can come into our communities and benefit people like us. So, DeSantis, who is up for re-election in November, as I said, he's widely expected to run for president in 2024. The University of Florida political science professor Michael McDonald said the Florida governor is under a lot of pressure to show that he is a, quote, real Republican, end quote. Now, you know what that means when you hear them say he's under pressure to show that he's a real Republican. What that means is They want to know how effective he's going to be in undermining people and communities of color. How much will he do to tear apart these communities and devalue the people who live in these communities? McDonald told NBC News, quote, "There's a major disagreement between the governor and the legislature. And on the 5th district, this is the district that I'm talking about, up in Tallahassee, and on the 5th district. And so that's going to be a huge stumbling block moving forward. DeSantis's redistricting map would likely give the GOP 2 additional seats in the state house and reduce the number of Democratic House seats by 2 seats. So add 2 seats to the GOP and cut off 2 seats to the Democratic House. And that's according to the Princeton Gerrymandering Project, which gave the map that DeSantis is proposing a grade of F. Now, you know, in school, when you got an F, that means you flunked. So the Princeton Gerrymandering Project gave the map that DeSantis is pushing a grade of F on their redistricting report card. Keep your eyes open, beloved. The more they can take away from us, they will. They will. You can bet your last dollar that until we can take some more majorities, these kinds of things will continue to happen. And they brush them off with no thought, no concern, nothing. They just brush it off as, well, that's just the way things are going to be. Because they want to go back to 1860. They want to go back to 1619. They want to go back to when we were 3/5 of a person. They want to go back to when we were out in the fields in sunny, hot days like today, picking cotton. It's 58 minutes past the hour. I've got a lot more to talk about on this, but I got to go because we're getting late in the day or for my program. But I wanted to read a poem called The Black Church, written by Maureen Durham. Here's her poem. And her name Maureen, last name Durham. Durham. I don't have to tell you who it is. It's my wife. Here's her poem. I love the Black Church for taking the remnants of its African tribal theology, fertilizing it with the blood of a risen Savior, and masterfully fashioning itself into the image of the faithful bride of Christ. I love the Black Church for feeling the restlessness of a justice too long deferred and embracing the message of freedom for all people, for boldly standing up when the fearful cautiously step back, for taking on mayors and governors and senators and yes, even presidents, and doing what cowards and pompous aristocrats would not do, to lovingly expose the sin and the shame of separatism and segregation. I love the Black Church for its selfless and soulful expression of joy, for its passionate notes of pentatonic praise that continue to ring out even in the midst of persistent injustice, for the way its pulsating and energetic musical sound mockingly displays an in spite of attitude of defiant expectation and stirs the hearts of remorseful men to personal tears of repentance. I love the black church for indelibly imprinting an example of Christ's command of compulsory forgiveness in the minds of cruel men and forcing them to turn and face their sacrificed Savior, whether with insolence or atonement. For its liberal manifestation of universal inclusiveness that embraces people of every hue and every habit, offering everyone the same unchanging message of love. I love the black church for its passion and persistence in keeping alive the dreadfully indispensable message of hope in a sinful world, for grabbing hold of God's preordained promise of salvation and painting it with bold, broad strokes of unfettered unity. I love the black church for keeping alive the sordid facts of our painful history and becoming a storehouse for truth and an expression of gratitude for its elders' painful sacrifice, for being a mentor to the misguided, encouragement to the disillusioned, and a perpetual light for the discontented and forlorn. I love the black church for being a monument to the true meaning of the universal church of Jesus Christ. One Lord, one faith, one baptism. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program here on Let's Chat America, broadcast from the world's most famous beach. To request Dr. Durham to speak at your event, please call 386-451-5114. Again, that's 386-451-5114. Tune in next Thursday, 12 noon, for another powerful program hour here on Joy 106.3 FM.
WAIGLP, Daytona Beach, Joy 106.3.
Tune in to Daytona Beach Radio with your host, the Reverend Dr. L.